Welcome to Promote Profit Publish. I'm your host, Juliet Clark. And for the month of May, we are going to be talking about the changes at Amazon. These changes happened, the algorithm changes last summer, I think around July. And if you are still treating your Amazon visibility the way you were before, chances are you're thudding, you're just dropping. And these changes were made to be more organic and also bringing in external sources to buy books. So, if your strategy has been launch hard, you have that bestseller campaign, buy a bunch of ads, hit a list and then hope, you're going to have a really tough time. The algorithm changes are probably a big wake up call. The version that Amazon rolled out last January is its A10 search and recommendation system, and it's completely changed what gets rewarded on the platform. If you tuned into our episode a couple weeks ago where Adana Moriarty talked a little bit about this, you probably learned that many of us that have created new platforms over the last year have done this with this in mind. So having that bestseller campaign, I wouldn't even pay for one now. I don't even offer them anymore because what happens is there's a graph where you get that really big spike and then it drops off. That is not what Amazon is rewarding anymore. They want to see consistent sales across the board, and they want to see those sales come from external sources, meaning that not their ads and not places that, well, quite frankly, some of the scams that have been going on lately. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. So in the old A9 era, they favored sales philosophy, internal behavior, who sold the fastest, who bid the most on ads, and who could stack a launch day with promos. So that's why that bestseller campaign was so successful, because we could take that pre-sale and we could jam a bunch of sales in there and get that bestseller sticker. And if you haven't noticed, I haven't put a bestseller sticker on a book in probably 2 years because Amazon would no longer let you have it because so many people were putting it on their book without actually achieving the standard. And even if you did, they wouldn't let you put it on. So what changed on this was Amazon noticed that there was a big thud. You would have book sales for that pre-sale. You would go into maybe 2 or 3 weeks of your new launch, and then it just bottomed out. So you dropped from, wherever you were in your category, in the top 10 to probably back onto the back pages where people couldn't find you. So what they changed this year really benefits your platform building. So if you're still out there thinking that you're going to just not build a platform and pray that your book does well, you're going to have a bigger surprise than you did even before all of this happened. So what they're looking for now are organic engagement that outranks a pure ad spend. So they're looking for, what does your content looks like? Here's something that most people don't know about Amazon that I tell all my clients, and they're really blown away. Amazon is Big Brother. It has been for a very long time. Back in 2010, there was a scam going around where authors would open up multiple Gmail, Hotmail accounts, and they would write their own reviews, and it would look like they were coming from a legitimate source. Well, there was that. And then there was the Fiverr scam. And I can't remember, it's Upwork now, but it wasn't Upwork there. Then there was another platform where you could actually go over and you could buy reviews for your books because reviews were part of the algorithm that played with it. Well, the result was that people were reviewing books that they'd never read, they'd never bought, and it wasn't helping authors other than to have a review there. So you probably saw over time that Amazon broke that into verified reviews. And then if it had nothing next to it, it wasn't a verified review, which meant that the book wasn't bought on the platform. So they went back and they not only sued or threatened to sue Fiverr to take these vendors down, but they created a system where the reviews are sound now. You don't get a bunch of fake reviews. So my point of all that is that There are little spiders that go out to Amazon. They've always had them. That's how they run their KDP free program. When you're enrolled in that free program, you can't have your book for sale anywhere else. And they will actually put those little feelers out and come back to you and say, you can't run this program because you have a book on a website, or they don't exactly tell you where it's at, but it may be at Barnes and Noble if you're through Ingram. It may be on your website, but you can't sell it anyplace else. So they've had these spiders out there for a long time. They know exactly where the people that are coming from that are writing your reviews. They also know where your sales are coming from and that they're legitimate people on the platform. So that organic engagement is coming from the outside. It's external. So where does that external traffic come from? They're looking for external traffic from your email. Remember, email was part of your platform. You're always supposed to be building a list. Your social media. Are you getting them from LinkedIn? Are people going in and buying your book from LinkedIn, from Facebook, wherever that is? They can see where that click comes from. If you're a podcast guest, that's content. They're really looking at, are you producing good content while you're doing this? So if you're someone who's been avoiding that author platform and you have no email list, you're not producing content on a regular basis, you're not podcast guesting or running your own podcast or your own blog, you're going to be in big trouble here because you're not getting the extra kudos to move you up in the ranking. All of that is heavily rewarded now. So all of that organic stuff that you do around this, that platform building piece, they are rewarding you. What they're actually doing here is Amazon has taken us from a short game as an author to a long game as an author. And that's actually a good thing because most nonfiction authors have businesses attached. So to have that long game also benefits your business. Now, I do think that it does hurt fiction authors a little bit because fiction is so much harder. So I feel like taking that or that ad revenue away or those ad clicks might be hurting them a little bit. They're also looking at author authority and account authority. This is more important than ever. And that's where all of those things I just talked about come in. The other part of this, is your platform filled out? Is your Author Central filled out? Is it filled out fully? Is it nice looking? They're also, like I said, content quality. The relevance matters more than the keyword stuffing. So you probably noticed a lot of changes with Google with the advent of AI. Google, I have friends who run Google ads. They're having a really tough time because Google is sort of overriding their keywords and doing some things that are making it harder to get good results from Google ads these days. It's going to be the same thing here. They're no longer looking at the keyword stuffing. They're looking at what does your content look like and is it relevant to your book? And then Amazon also looks at your book's performance over time. It's no longer just the, yay, you went to number one. They're playing the long game here. So are you getting consistent sales every month? Are you having big spikes and then pulling back? What are you doing to do that? Are you out speaking? So they're really looking at everything right now. And here's a big one. And I'm going to tell you the ramifications of this big one and what's going on out there that could really hurt your platform and your Amazon ranking. We've always thought that reviews are a way to really get more traction, and they are, but there's a difference. Amazon is now tracking buyer behavior. This is a basic marketing tenet that most book people don't even acknowledge. That's where I talked about in the Perfect Reader Playbook. We actually have buyer triggers. We're looking at the behavior and what makes these people buy. That's what big ad firms do. And that's what we should be doing as well as marketing people. It's that actual marketing, science of marketing. So the buyer behavior. Are people going in and looking at your book and then going and buying another book? Is it consistently another book? Is it going in and looking at what books are being bought with yours? What are those reviews coming in at and where are they coming from? I just mentioned that there are verified buyer reviews. Those are people with actual accounts, and there are unverified reviews. I'm going to actually tell you what the AI is looking at. The AI looks at patterns, and that's what it's looking for. If you go in and look at your verified reviews, more than likely, those are people who have bought other items on Amazon. So a long time ago, I did an affiliate link and somebody bought a book, but they bought a vacuum cleaner at the same time. Somehow I got paid for the book and the vacuum cleaner. And so that's what they're looking for, that pattern grid. Where are these people buying other things? Are they regular buyers when they review your verified book? Now, if you see an unverified review, this is where the pattern recognition really comes in. If you click on that person and all you see are book reviews, you've just identified someone who paid for those reviews. And there are companies out there that you can pay to do reviews, but they actually buy the books. There are a lot of book club scams out there right now where they will sell you Goodreads and Amazon reviews, but when you go, it's unverified because they didn't buy the book. The other tell on that with the unverified, besides not buying the book, is that purchase history. Are they just reviewing books? And are they reviewing the same books? Those are the kinds of patterns that Amazon is looking at. So they don't give those unverified reviews the weight that they give the verified reviews, mainly because they don't know if you purchased the book, they don't know where you got it. And that's what's really hurting people in these book club scams. They sound like a great idea, but they're really, really not. And I know we talked about this in the February training. For those of you who didn't come, this may be the first time you're hearing it, but we talked about not only contracts and the different things you needed to be doing, but we talked about the big scams that were out there. And the book club was one of them. So you have to be really careful now when you put all this together. The importance is your platform. Get it built, build that organic traffic, build those readers. That's what the Perfect Reader Playbook is for, is to get you in position for that. That is what the Pro Launch program that Kathleen Kaiser and Adana Moriarty put together. It works off of those organic things that you're doing. So that's what you really need to key in on. Bestseller campaigns, really not necessary anymore. There are some good programs out there that we have worked with in the past that will get you good results with buys over time, but these people actually go in and buy the book. So it's not a fake buy. So the goal is to show Amazon steady, believable demand and not a weird outlier week that happens with the bestseller campaign. This also happens with the book club scams. You'll get an abundance of reviews in a particular time period, which really doesn't look real. So you have to take all this into consideration now. Do you want things that are heavily weighted, or do you want things that you're probably purchasing that aren't getting you anywhere? So every reader that you reach is a direct asset of the algorithm. And that's what is recognized now by those algorithms. So if you're going to start or double down, you need an email list that is centered on a compelling reader magnet. Now, an email list is not as easy as it sounds to build. I have built mine over years and I have thousands of people. Most of the people that I talk to have between maybe 200 and 1,000. And I actually tell people that if your list is good at opening, if you're getting a high open rate, having a smaller list probably doesn't hurt if they're engaged. Now, I know people that have thousands of lists. And if you were in this business back in like 2013, probably to 2016, the first thing out of a person's mouth was, how big is your list? And they didn't ask about open rate. They didn't ask about anything. So they actually chose you for events based on the size of your list, which was just insane. I actually used to have a meme that says size matters, and it was a little bit suggestive, but that's kind of where we were at back then with the list. You need to have a podcast or be regularly guesting on other people's podcasts. So the call to action is your book. Every time you're a guest, every time you have your own podcast. And we are actually in the process, since I'm on the board of Podcaster United now, we are working with many of our authors to set up DIY podcasts and really supercharge that as an avenue for your content. There's so many ways to repurpose content from a podcast. Just taking mine, I used to podcast, I do still podcast. It goes into my newsletter. It's on my YouTube channel. It's in my LinkedIn newsletter. It goes out to my email audience every week. So I know when I go over to my books on Amazon and I'm getting reviews that they're coming from my calls to action. People have actually bought the book. So that's a big one as well. Social content that drives curiosity, just not by my book post. So they're looking at your social media. Are you producing a LinkedIn newsletter? Are you regularly having events? Are you regularly posting over there? We start our people with 3 posts a week, and they find that really, really hard. We try to post 3 to 5 times a week now. But it's always relevant content. It's always something to do with the book, the industry. One of our clients we're currently setting up who is just lovely, but she never spent the time to do this before her book came out, is now she has a LinkedIn newsletter. We're moving into her YouTube channel. She's actually taking old talks. We're taking podcast guests. So when you're a guest on a podcast, you should always ask the host, may I use that video or audio to promote this? More than likely, they'll say yes. So we're running her guest posting through Opus. We are putting out posts to promote not only her, but her guest spots on there, which makes her a really great guest. People in the podcast world talk. When they come across a great guest, they'll share that with other podcasters. Hey, you should talk to so-and-so. She did an amazing show for me. She's probably somebody that you can have as well. They're looking for special content. They're looking for collaborations with other authors serving the same audience. Think about that. They're looking for, are you guys having events? Are you promoting your books in tandem? What are you doing? Are you on author panels that are being publicized? Are you a leader in, the fiction world? I have a cybersecurity expert who literally, I'm the publisher for his clients. And they have a spectacular platform out there because he's a big influencer. He has his name on every single one of their books. And they're always out at events promoting these books to get more business. Those are the kinds of collaborations that Amazon is looking for. So when readers click through to your Amazon page and buy, you're training the algorithm to favor your entire catalog out there. So think about that. Now Amazon is looking at what's coming from your email list. They're looking at what kind of content are you putting out there. A+ content over on Amazon, you can use that as well. That can be helpful too. So other ways to get more traffic. I engaged a gentleman this week who got on my calendar and wanted to know how he could sell more books. And I could tell right away he was self-published. So before you go and you engage in things that are more traffic, I want to give you some hints because these are the hints I gave him. So update your cover if it doesn't match current genre trends. So if you're still back in werewolves for fiction and they're doing something else now, you may want to update that cover. If you have a cover that wasn't so snappy from 10 years ago, maybe time to update that cover and relaunch. So really look at those covers. Are they attractive? Are they balanced? Are they eye-catching? Rewrite your subtitles so it screams relevance and outcome. So many people have just a long, passive subtitle that really doesn't serve the book. Rebuild your book description so the first 3 to 5 lines, the hook is the perfect reader. It's actually aimed at that perfect reader. And make sure your reviews are visible, recent, and credible. What do I mean by credible? They're verified. They're verified reviews from verified purchases. So all of that, go back and do it. There are new keywords you can use. There are new categories out there. They come out with new categories every year. I just saw a memo and I haven't explored it yet. There are some new BISAC codes. We ran into this with James Weeks' book because there weren't many categories for Black authors, and he has a Black spiritual book. And so it's actually a Jamaican African spiritual book that deserves its own category. So we ask for it. So before you start all this again, go back and clean up your keywords, clean up your categories, and clean up your metadata on the back end. Back end keywords that complement, not repeat, visible phrases. So use those long tail keywords as well. And then protect your long-term authority. Treat your whole catalog like an organism. Poor reader experience on one title quietly can drag everything else down. I know this personally because my third book sold a lot of copies, but my first three books were not edited by somebody who was really amazing. Let me take that back. My first one was. My second, third, and fourth books weren't, because by the time my third book sold a lot of copies, my fourth book was on its way out. So go back and look. If you're getting some reviews from a previous book that say, hey, this wasn't great, or this needed better editing, or something like that, go have it re-edited. I am actually in the process of that right now with a couple of those books. Look at your reader complaints and reviews. What are they telling you needs to be better? That is really important. And report bad reviews right away if you think they came from a competitor. Back in that time frame, I was talking about that 2010 to 2013, when all those fake reviews, there were actually situations where competitors on books were leaving each other bad reviews and got caught. And so make sure that those reviews are legitimate. Go and click on it and see what else that person's bought. If there's somebody who has a lot of different things in their, that they've purchased in the past, because it gives you the purchases there, then maybe it was a legit review. If it's somebody who just does nasty book reviews and you can see they're giving everybody 1 star and another particular book 5 stars, you may have somebody who's just writing nasty reviews. And we actually ran into that with one of our authors on launch day. Somebody got mad at her about the platform and initiated a bunch of bad reviews, which really it wasn't good. So also look at your formatting, your editing, and clarity issues that cause refunds. If you're somebody who's getting refunds on Amazon, that's going to impact your algorithm score as well. I personally have never had a Kindle book returned. Have had a couple books returned, but they were returned for the printer errors. So, and those weren't actually mine. They were more client books, and that was an Ingram problem. It was not an Amazon problem. Misleading positioning that sets the wrong expectations. What does that mean? That means when you're engaging a publisher and also purchasing a bestseller campaign, don't let them put you in some obscure category just to make you a bestseller. They're scanning that now to make sure that your book is in the right category. And guess what? They scan your book, they scan everything. And back to the big brother. If you didn't know that, now you do. Here's another secret. When you're pushing those Kindle sales, they know exactly when that Kindle was ordered, whoever ordered it, they know when it was ordered, they know how fast you're going through it. So if you're getting a review from someone who bought the Kindle book, then didn't open it or didn't browse through it and at least read it, that may show up as an unverified review for you. So be careful with that too. If you have people where you're saying, hey, I'm going to send you a free book, and you're going and you're buying those and pushing them out, make sure people are opening them, because it doesn't record the sale until they open them either. So why is this all? This is sort of good news, bad news. I know it sounds very negative, but here's the good news in all this. This is good news because on the surface, Amazon is trying to build real author businesses, real author platforms, and get rid of the old hacks that were in place that were really scams and fakes and misleading. They want readers to have really good experiences and share it, but they don't want those readers to buy the book because they've been misled. So what's the next step if you're not doing these things? If you want to thrive in that 2025 algorithm, you can't just optimize your listing in isolation. You need to start positioning, better metadata, pricing, and promotions, all built around algorithms. If you've noticed in the last year, my company has actually changed our promotions. We've dropped the bestseller campaign because it's no longer relevant. We have gone to algorithmically popular campaigns, meaning we're looking for click-throughs, we're looking for impressions that are going to move you up too, because everything matters now. As long as you have these things consistently, your score and ranking is going to keep you in a consistent place. If you're not basing this, if you're doing things that are ego-based instead of algorithm-based, you're going to have some problems. And I'll just mention to you, several people who have literary agents or wanted literary agents have actually come to us to do these promotions on a past book in order to get a future contract. And one of our people just last month in April got a contract. They started pitching. The literary agent finally said, we have enough now. He's been working with us for about 9 months. We have enough now. We can start pitching. So there's other things that you can use all of this platform building for, and it might be getting that traditional contract. So I encourage you guys, if you want to find out more about the Perfect Reader Playbook, to go over. We have a webinar right now. It's a consume at your own pace. You can go over anytime. It's the Perfect Reader Playbook webinar.com and find out more about the layering that happens in all of this that really benefits the Amazon algorithms. And if you have a business, it's going to benefit you as well, because it's the science promotion, the science of, all of this marketing. And it is the way to really build this in a way that Amazon will embrace and new clients will embrace. It's a good way to get new clients. All right. See you next time. Like I said, the whole month of May, we're going to be talking about this. So next time we're going to be on this topic, but niche it down a little bit more. All right. See you soon.